Hello and good evening in Dubai, good afternoon in London and everywhere else in the world. Thank you for joining us today to this live with R.A.C.E. Today, our guest is Beatrix. She is the founder of R.A.C.E. and as always, Carla, the host of Wonder and Wellbeing podcast, is also with us. So let's start by asking Beatrix to tell us a little bit about herself and her background. Welcome, Beatrix.
Thank you. Thanks, Angela. It's good to be back on the other side now, not somebody who's asking the questions, it's somebody who's answering the questions. So I would introduce myself as somebody who is really fond of learning, lifelong learning, curiosity, questions, innovation, always looking for something new and always trying to educate myself. So I'm really, really fond of it, and that's my passion. And this is where I see R.A.C.E. coming in, because everybody who is promoting R.A.C.E. and coaching for education, they are promoting a growth mindset. They are promoting well-being, they are promoting values. And this is something I strongly and very deeply resonate with. I have many years in education. Right now, I think it's around 17, and many different roles as well. And they all taught me something, but the key lesson is to stay curious and to bring more empathy, more wholeheartedness into conversations. And this is what excites me the most.
Oh, that's very interesting, and that's amazing to know that you have many years, right, in education, in different roles as well. So, would you like to tell us a little bit about what kind of roles were you doing in education for all these 17 years?
Oh my. All right. So I did teach in a classroom for quite some time, high school, college, university, not only English, but also history, which is my other major. And apart from that, especially in the UAE, I filled in many roles, from head of department to working on a mentor program and leading a mentor program, to had contributed to leadership training and how to develop schemes and frameworks for leadership training. Mostly for managers who are in the education system. And this is what I'm still doing right now. And at the same time, my curiosity is kind of leading me to creative learning and creative learning solutions. So this is where I'm looking at into the future.
Yeah, well,
this is what I would like to. I would like to bring this experience from education into companies as well as into schools, because it is really key. It's really the essence to stay curious, to be curious, and to work on the soft skills very early on. So this is why I love the R.A.C.E. community as well, because I feel I met like-minded people from all over the globe.
Okay, I like that. That's very interesting to know that you have all the context, right? All that context in leadership, teaching, bringing education in other contexts as well. Because then that makes me think about my next question, which is, what is R.A.C.E? Because you said that you wanted to bring all that into R.A.C.E, but tell the audience, what is R.A.C.E?
Actually, as I mentioned, I'm really curious. So as I'm answering this question, I would also like to ask everybody who is listening to us, welcome, and please also answer this question. What is raising awareness of coaching and education for you? And as previously, Carla, I'm sure she will share with us many of those great insights. To me personally, R.A.C.E is connection. Me connecting with others, and me creating opportunities where others can connect. And how I see others connecting is connecting teenagers, parents, kids who are younger than teenagers, in that age group, and they can already think about themselves, and they can already think about their thinking and reflect. So bringing that age group plus the teachers and creating those connections with them and coaches and those teachers who are using coaching skills, so they can experience the difference. So it's not only an approach, it is an approach. When coaches are coaching, it is an approach. When they are coaching teachers, when they are coaching parents, when they are coaching teenagers, it is coaching. When teachers bring in coaching into their into the way how they are teaching the subject, into the way how they are facilitating the learning, to me it's more than that. They are using the subject knowledge as a vehicle to communicate something that is more important. Mathematics is really important, but it is also very important for me, if I'm good at it, to have those who are not as good and have those skills when I can help the other student in the class. So they really bring a wealth of knowledge, as well as they are using this wealth of knowledge as a vehicle to communicate something, teach something, train them to use skills that are even more important.
Wow. Well, that's amazing, because I hear words like connect, coaching, collaboration. You also mentioned about learning. So it means that race is not one thing, but race, it's a group of things that could actually bring people together, connect people into learning and into finding solutions and so on. Carla, would you like to share some of the comments from our audience today regarding Beatrix's question?
Yeah, we've got a comment from Karen who says being curious is key. Martin says key ingredient for magical conversations, curiosity. And Martin also adds another magic ingredient, connection. Myrna says, I see race as a space holding and witnessing the growth in the triangle of teachers, students, and parents. And she adds to that a space where the three key partners in this triangle are being seen and heard. And then Renu says, race is a place to connect and support teachers, coaches, and parents, all of them together.
Amazing. That's great. I love the fact that they're starting to see that the education community is not only teachers and it's not only students, but it's also bringing parents into the questions as well. And I would also like to know from the audience, why do you think it's important to bring parents into the question and to include parents into the education stakeholders in race and in general in the education world?
While they are answering it, Angela, would you like to also hear from us, maybe me and Carla?
Sure, Carla. She always has great things to share.
Yeah, I mention a lot about this concept of a village to raise a child, and we don't live in villages. Most of us don't live in villages anymore. And also my experience as a parent is it's very, very difficult to be a parent in these times. And I'm sure parents from before would have argued that it was always been difficult. But I think now, because we don't live in the same type of communities, it can make parenting really challenging. And that's not just for single parents, but more for single parents. Even when there's two of you, it's difficult to parent. But when it's single parents, it's sometimes near impossible, and it's very stressful. But then on top of that, it's also difficult to be a teacher, with all of the complexities. But everybody's got something to share. So I think when you can collaborate and you can connect and everybody can bring something, and also when coaches get involved, it's like this extra strength that everybody has. So for me, it's all about that. It's about replicating that village. And now we call it connectedness or community. And that's, for me, is what race, why it's such an exciting thing, because it's just putting that missing thing, that missing key, or that missing piece that can help everybody to connect and to understand each other as well. Oftentimes parents have one perspective or one goal, and responsibility, and then teachers or schools have another. And who's stuck in the middle is the children and the teens. And I think coaches can really be a bridge between that, and let everybody say, well, look, everyone can get their needs met, but we just need to collaborate and bring the right tools so that we can communicate with each other and connect in the right ways. And that's what coaching does, isn't it? It helps people to do that.
Yeah, that's true. I would also add that it's a space support as well at many levels, really. And so that is also a word that pops out every time I think about race: support, collaboration, for all stakeholders. Beatrix, I don't know if there is anything else that you would like to add to this conversation about parents and support.
Yes, I really would like to build on your metaphors of the village and also of the support, because and linking it to parents. Parents last March were just kind of dropped into that very deep water where they just all of a sudden overnight found themselves in a teaching role as well as in a parent role and as well as a full-time employee. So it was really tough, and I'm sure it's still challenging. A school is still not opening up fully, and it was a moment where several insights just emerged. One of them was, oh, it's great and lovely to have teachers, those who are doing this for my kids in usual time. And also it was a realization I can do a lot, and I can also do a lot while homeschooling. So hopefully for many parents, it also was an eye-opener to see that they can take on roles and they can take on the role of the facilitator of that learning process that they haven't thought about before, or maybe many of them haven't thought about it before. So another moment that I think happened during this time in last year is collaboration among parents. There are some parents who decided not to enroll their kids in the school anymore, but they decided to collaborate and create a learning environment for their kids. Small and mini learning environment, but that reminded me of what Carla said about the village, that a small community and co-creating, being proactive in creating that learning environment for their kids. So when I was listening to you, really these thoughts just came up that thankfully, we could use the situation to learn from it and to our benefit. And we still need support, but also we can give support, and realizing that it can both happen, that's an amazing gift.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Beatrix. Carla, would you like to share some of the comments from the audience, please?
Jamila says collaborating is key amongst all stakeholders. And Renu says, my question is, and I'm curious to find out when and how Dr. Beatrix found out that this sort of platform is required. And coaching from Martin, coaching can ease the connections between teachers, parents, and students. Myrna adds to that and says, as a parent, the teachers are my partners ensuring the well-being of my kids. And Karen says, the most impactful coaching program we have delivered so far is where we have coached the child, their teacher, and their parent, offered a shared understanding of the child's needs. And Myrna says, and it's important to ensure the well-being of the teachers in that case. And Karen says, all of us using the language of coaching to support the child. I think we had a question there from Martin that maybe Beatrix wants to go back to.
Okay, yeah, I think it's an interesting question from Renu. That when did I find out? I don't know if there was a specific moment, but when you are in education and you are in the classroom and you have the kids for as long as their parents have them for, and you realize that the teacher-student relationship is very constant and very much formalized and already has its own frame, whereas the parent and child relationship is very fluid, and many of the parents need that kind of an education that the schooling system right now does not provide. And maybe this situation, maybe we'll bring those innovative ideas that look at smart parenting, that look at curious parenting, and equip parents with those tools they need to collaborate better with their kids, to improve their communication, and also to enhance more collaboration between the teacher and the parents, so they really realize that it's a triangle, somebody said in the comments, where they are working together. And this is exactly where we are looking at with R.A.C.E. We want to create this platform as a start in a virtual format, where we are offering parents these education opportunities where they can learn, where they can become better parents by improving and developing those skills that are needed for more successful parenting, more effective parenting, finding their voice when they are parenting. And at the same time offering a very safe environment for teenagers who are struggling, and who are struggling without talking about it. We all know how difficult it is to talk to teenagers, and this is what we want to help them with, to have coaches who are specialized in that, and coaches who are ready to share tips and strategies how to do it. As well as for teachers, what R.A.C.E. has is the support of education, yes, for them, their own upskilling and very personalized, but also a support if they want to go into the direction of one-on-one tutoring, then we want to help with that. And we want to equip them with those coaching skills that we already see useful, and gift it to them so they can build it into their learning process. So it is a process. Back to Rinu's question, it was kind of a gradual realization. And when I reached the stage that I could articulate it, then people like you, Rinu, and Angela, and Carla, and all those amazing people who are in R.A.C.E. volunteering and working on this cause, they showed up. You know, when the student is ready, the master appears.
That's right. That's right. So, Carla, is there anything that you would like to add or ask Beatrix before I carry on with some other questions I'm curious about?
Yeah, no, I agree what she said about when sometimes you're not sure if something's needed, but you just need to go ahead and do it anyway. And then when you do it, the right people come. And I think that we love this, don't we? We all love this community, and everybody's always, celebrating it and talking about how great it is. But also we respect the fact that Beatrix had the courage to get up and actually do it, because many of us may have thought about it, but not been sure how to do it. So I think we have to celebrate the fact that she did do it, because that's why we're all here now and being able to have these amazing conversations. So thank you, Beatrix. I think I want to add.
Great, you.
Thank you.
Yes, that's amazing. I mean, I think that also having a platform where like-minded people find, other contributors to their cause, to put it that way, is something. It's magic. I have to say that, especially because I want Beatrix to tell us. This is a global movement, isn't it? I mean, it's global. It's not based in one specific place. It's not with coaches from one specific place. So would you like to tell us where are the volunteers located, and what kind of volunteers are working at the moment with R.A.C.E.?
Yeah, amazing. If you ask me, it's really magic. Amazing people. From where I think I can start with you and saying that, you are in the UK, Angela, and your heart is there for Colombia, and Carla is in the UK, and Rinu is here, but again, her heart goes, for India. Jacob is in Saudi Arabia, and Jamila is here, but also I think it's Morocco. We have Teodora, who is from Bulgaria, and We have great supporters as well. I really have to say, we really have great supporters who are already doing something similar, and they are ready to collaborate with us and to support us. So Martin in Sweden, or Karen in the UK, or Angie in the UK. There are, Mirna is in Lebanon. If I'm mistaken, please do correct me. So yes, we are looking global, and we don't want to limit it to one country and one community. We really want to make it happen globally, that it gets recognized, it gets the attention it deserves. And yes, we want to show that it's not one fixed pathway, because everybody who is here in R.A.C.E and working already for this cause, maybe not yet, maybe doesn't know about R.A.C.E yet, maybe not a member of R.A.C.E yet, but they are already doing an amazing job. What we want to do is bring it all together and show what a variety we have. Like, look at you, looking at transformational leadership, or Carla working for the well-being of teachers, giving back what she needed when she was there in the classroom. Or, I can bring up loads of examples, and it really shows. And, thankfully, these live talks, they can really introduce people and show the amazing work they are doing out there in the world. And working with kids, working with parents, working with schools. So it is happening. And what we want to do, we want to share this limelight with everyone who is doing this amazing job. And at the same time communicate the message that we are supporting each other. We are in this together, and not competing, and not doing more or less, or comparing with the others, but really focusing on supporting each other, and in that support, communicating the bigger message.
Wow, that's a very, very nice answer. It feels like like it's a community. This is like a brotherhood and sisterhood. I mean, all working together towards the same goal, which is bringing awareness and raising awareness towards coaching into education. Carla, are there any questions from the audience that you would like to share?
Yeah, we've got some nice comments here. We've got, let me go, I think we need to go up a little bit. We've got quite a few. Okay, so Karen says, interestingly, my next soon-to-be published blog gives 6 tips for parents for having great conversations with their children. Renu has got a thank you so much for us. And Martin, what does R.A.C.E need to move ahead? So I think that's a question from Martin there.
Mm-hmm. So thank you, Martin. R.A.C.E needs people like you to move ahead. Really, like, you are one of our amazing, supporters, and you have been doing an absolutely just fantastic job with coaching for educators, offering a platform where teachers can get free coaching sessions that others, pay for. They can get it as a gift. And it has been out there for many, and still accessible. So it is moving ahead, and the future of R.A.C.E is communicating the message, what we have, in the way we want to communicate it, that feels most resonant with us, to education systems all over the planet. And another thing R.A.C.E needs to move ahead is to create more collaborations on many different levels. I mentioned a few, but there are more collaborations where you can see parents collaborating, where you can see teachers collaborating, schools collaborating. And now, thankfully, with the virtual environments, it really feels like a global village where we can communicate, where we can collaborate, and there are no limits to it. Where there is a will, there is a way. And this is the time we are living it. So thank you so much for the question, Martin. And also, if you have an answer to your question, let us know. I'm also curious, what do you think? And what does everybody here in the audience, what do you think R.A.C.E needs to move ahead?
Amazing. That's right. That's correct. Carla, would you like to share with us what you think R.A.C.E needs to move ahead from your expertise and from your perspective?
I would say people. Everything is all about people. The more people you have, the more support you have, the more of that collaboration and all those things that we talked about, the more it's going to have an impact, isn't it? And I like the point that Beatrix mentioned about collaborating rather than competing. I think not just R.A.C.E needs this, but the whole world needs this right now. It's just, I think that the time where everyone could be in competition with each other and trying to get sales and trying to get clients and all of that kind of stuff, that world is just not useful anymore. And I think we learned that last year with, you know, the whole lockdown situation, and many businesses weren't making money, and it suddenly became obvious that what you really needed was people. You really needed connections. You really needed to feel part of something that wasn't about getting a client or getting a customer and, you know, getting the next bit of money, because there was nowhere to go to spend it anyway, you know, and there's only so much you can buy online to make yourself happy, isn't there? So I think we just need more people. We need more collaboration, and we need more connection, and we need more people sharing what they have and connecting their resources together and collaborating for something good. So I think that's really what we need at the moment.
That's great. That's amazing. We're almost out of time, but there are a couple of questions, I think, in the audience, and I also have one last question. So if you want to maybe share one of the questions in the audience, Carla, and then.
Yeah, we've got from Renu, who says, I would also like you to put a bit of focus on difference between coaching and counselling in education, as many of the parents are confused.
My take on it, and I like using this to illustrate, you know, how coaching is different from counseling. And there are many different types of counseling, but for me, when, you know, I think of a counseling session, then I do think of listening, but I also think of somebody's going to give me advice. And it's also, you know, some of the terms, like when you think of therapy and when you think of mentoring, they are kind of related to the past and to advice. Whereas if you think of coaching, it's related to you figuring out your own answers and looking ahead, taking the past as a learning, as a bank of learning experiences, and then recycling it in your present to use them in the future. So it's very future oriented, very personalized, and very open to explore the best option you have for yourself. And that's super liberating. Not easy, but very much liberating, and can become really addictive to have this mindset in the long term. And this is what I really want to see in schools happening. This is really what I want to see in the eyes of those kids going to school, that this is what they have. A clear vision of where they are heading, knowing their values, knowing their strengths, knowing their limiting beliefs, and being aware that they are not living in the past and they are not living in the future, but they are living in a present moment, and they are creating their future. They are designing their life.
Amazing answer. I really like that answer about thinking on what you have now so you can move forward, basically. What's your condition right now to move forward? And I think that it's going to resonate a lot with many students that are actually thinking about what's going to happen for them in the future, especially these days and in these times, unprecedented times. I have a last question, and it's where and how can people contact R.A.C.E, and where can they find us? Which I think is very important for start making more connections.
Absolutely. We would love to hear from you, all of us. We are very open, you know, and we want to hear from you. We want to listen to you, and we want to offer you to be heard and to be seen. So just simply go to coachingforeducation.com and have a look around, find us on social media as well, Coaching for Education. And what you have here as R.A.C.E basically is a call to action, which is raise awareness of coaching in education the best way you can.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Beatrix, and thank you very much, Carla, as always. What would we do without you, Carla? Helping us with all the questions and engaging with the audience. And thank you, everyone who attended this live today. I hope that you can follow us, and I hope that you can find benefits and you can see the impact that race can have in education. Thank you very much.